Welcome to another exciting build by the Viral Workaholic. I have been told this is called a hoop house. We will begin by cutting out our 2x4 framing. This section will be 83 inches long by 48 inches wide. After we make our cuts, then we have to mark our boards for our pilot holes. This is an important step for the strength and stability of our frame. I am marking 3/4 of an inch in from the saw cut. I'll be making a 1-inch mark on either side of the 2x4 for the pilot hole. By drilling out these holes, this will ensure that the wood does not split when we place our screws in it. With this proper spacing, we'll ensure that when we put our screws in, that we will hit the center of the wood that we're screwing into. We can pre-start our screws into the pilot holes, then move the end piece down. No pilot holes will be necessary in the end piece with the all-purpose screws that we're using. With our boards properly aligned, we can then secure the end piece to the side rail. This process is repeated until the frame is completed. I will be repurposing some 1-inch steel tubing to use as inserts for my 3/4 inch PVC piping. I'll be marking and cutting the pipe the thickness of the inside of the frame. These will be the sleeves for my PVC hoops. One side of my sleeve will have a hole drilled in it large enough to allow the head of the screw to pass all the way through. I will continue through the hole with the smaller bit to provide a pilot hole for the threads of the screw. With my angle grinder, I'll cut them to size. I will install one on each corner of the ends of the frame. Then I'll install one on each side in the middle of the frame. With the sleeves installed, the PVC will slide nicely into the sleeves. This will allow us to create the hoops. Once both end hoops are installed, then we'll place a board at the end and screw it to the frame and to the hoop to add stability. As the video continues, you'll see that this board will also provide us a place to staple the plastic to, as well as to place the center bar across the middle. I will now use a 1-inch hole saw bit to drill a hole at the top of my hoops for the center piece to travel through. Now that both sides are drilled out, I can slide the 3/4 inch centerpiece through the holes. Now all we need to do is trim off the excess. I'll mark it here, I'll chop it off. Now we'll place stop screws in the crossbar so that whenever we stretch the plastic over, it won't pull the end pieces in. Now we can get it laid out on a raised garden bed. Put the center hoop in, and now we can put the crossbar on the top. A wet, rainy spring day is not real conducive to putting plastic on a hoop house. So we'll do this part inside the outdoor space for you. We'll need to get several layers of plastic rolled up so that we can put the staples in. This will keep the staples from pulling through when the wind hits it. We'll start out here on the corner and work our way down the side. We want to pull down as hard as we can on the plastic without tearing it. We want it tight as possible. On the other side, we'll trim off the excess. You want to be careful that you don't trim off too much excess because you want enough to roll up so that you'll have something strong to staple to. Put across the side and throw a few staples on it to get that tight before we start working on the centerpiece. We're going to pull down and make this plastic tight, and we're going to roll with it so that we pull everything toward the center of the wood post. When we get it as tight as we can, then we're going to put a staple in it to hold it in place. Then we'll start pulling from the side around to the middle and rolling it up nice and tight and keeping as much tension as we can on it to keep all the plastic tight. When we've got it as tight as we can, then we can start working the staples across it. Now we can see the added benefit of having the center post down the middle. We can continue pulling, tugging, and stapling the plastic so that we get a nice tight fit. We can trim off some of the added bulk so that we have a little less material to try to staple through so that our staples get a strong hold to the wood. Once this end is complete, we'll work our way down the other side and finish off the other end just as we during this side. Make sure that the plastic's nice and tight, and we want to have a nice finished product. I hope you've enjoyed this build as much as I have. Check out the video on elevated garden bed so you can build one for yourself. Click the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can see all of our exciting builds. Smash that like button and happy building!